TCO 2020 finalists, this is George from London, Geo UK. Wishing you all the best of luck, sincere congratulations. We think of you, we celebrate you, go get them.
Hi, I'm Hari from New Jersey, USA. Congratulations to all the finalists and good luck.
Hi, I'm Kiran Hampapura from the Topcoder team in Bangalore. A warm welcome to all the participants of TCO 2020. Compete hard, do well, and have a blast. I wish you the very best. Thank you.
Good morning, Topcoder. I'm Kirill Kartunov from the community team located in Bulgaria, and I wish all TCO participants good luck. Enjoy the show.
Hello, hopefully you can all hear me okay. I am Matty, part of the the operations team, currently working on trying to build the task platform, which we have operational for all of you guys to get gig work. So a little bit about me. My handle is RedXV. If you know anything about Final Fantasy VII or about rugby, you might be able to work out where that name comes from. Other than that, I'm sorry. I drink too much beer, and I have a big old lump of a dog. I hope you guys can see. Currently snoozing on the floor, and my girlfriend, who's much smarter than me, is working in the background. So yeah, I'm here to talk to you guys about gig work. So what is gig work? Let me try and share the screen. It isn't working for me. There we go. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, gig work coder. What we've got going at the moment is a route to which we can try and get all of you guys freelance work, basically. So you've proven yourself through competitions, you've maybe proven yourself through your day jobs, through everything else you've done. And what we've got now is gig work opportunities. So this is a way in which you can get paid a regular weekly income. It can be on top of your day job, it could be your day job. And basically, it's a great way of having flexibility in where you work and how you work. So why would you want to do gig work? Put some bullet points up. You can see that my use of language is pretty simple, but that's because gig work truly is amazing. You get to work with some wonderful people and some amazing companies. So you know about the Topcoder community. It's incredible. Beyond that, you then get to work with some companies. We've had contracts for gig work through folks like Ubisoft. We've got Nike. We've got oil and gas companies. These companies are wonderful people, very hard to get into, but you can get experience of working with these companies through gig work. All of our gigs are work remote and permanently work remote. So that means you can work from your home, you can work from a beach, or if you're me, you might want to work from a ski resort so you can hit the slopes in the morning. Beyond that, it's about building your talents, right? You've proven yourself in competitions. If you can prove yourself professionally, it's another way of building up your Topcoder profile, which then helps you in the real world as well. So when can you do it? Pretty much any time. I'd recommend finishing TCO first. Make sure that you complete the amazing efforts that the guys have put on for you for virtual TCO this year. And sort of how do you do it? Super simple. Topcoder.com/gigs. That's obviously a pretty high level run through. I'll keep talking a bit more. If you've got any questions, do put them in the chat and I'll answer them as I go. So with that, who can you work with? We've got placements from people around the world, from within the Topcoder community, and we're growing our community with gig work as well. So you'll be able to connect with other freelancers and other talented people around the world too. The companies, we really are covering everything here. We have games developers, we have hardware companies, energy companies, lots of pharmaceutical companies who are interested in gig work. And what that means is we've got every kind of gig you can imagine, from designer gigs through to developer gigs, through to data sciences. There really is a huge breadth of opportunities available for everyone who'd like to apply. And how do you do that? Simply go into the link at the bottom. You'll see the list of all the open gigs. All you need to do is search in there for gigs which match your requirements. Make sure you match the gig requirements. So the things you'll see in the gig is the pay range which you can receive on a weekly basis. You'll see the required working time zones, and perhaps in some instances there'll be country requirements. This is pretty much down to security, although we are working on developing what we can provide to make everything more global. We're also looking to evolve our opportunities to make them more part-time friendly as well. This is something that the guys on the platform with me were pretty passionate about, so we're trying to push that pretty hard. And as I said, you get to work remotely. So there's a great chance here to be able to pick up a gig that runs on top of your day job, doesn't interfere with your day job, and allows you to earn some more money whilst building your Topcoder profile in a professional manner. And again, when can you do it? Anytime. That's the beauty of this stuff. You can pick it up anytime you want. So yeah, if you've got any questions, do let me know. It's a pretty quick run through, but I think it's safe to say that everyone who's applied so far and had a gigs had a wonderful experience and had a great chance to kind of evolve their knowledge of different domains, different companies, different working habits, and connect with different people around the world who maybe they haven't met before within the community. It's also a great way of working on different projects and different experiences, and in a much more collaborative fashion than perhaps you might get on the competition model, as every day could be slightly different as you connect with the team you're working with and operate through the project delivered. There's no prizes available at the moment, but I'll give kudos to anyone who can name the all three members that I've used to represent Gigwork. It's a personal favorite. It was pretty easy, but the third member is always a bit of a hard one. Being honest, I have to Google it pretty much every time I do it. So yeah, hopefully that gives you guys a pretty clear run through of what's available for you all with Gigwork. Who do we look for? Ideally, profiles will mean you've had a few years of professional experience. Our clients are looking for people who they can trust to come into professional domain. That doesn't mean if you've got less, you shouldn't apply. It just means read the job descriptions pretty carefully before you do. We try and make sure there's general guidance in there of what's expected from the client. Some clients have much more stringent expectations than others. Within that, make sure your CV sells the skills you have that match the job description. The more things you can put in there, the more you can pass through to the client. We're constantly evolving the platform at our end, so we're looking forward to being able to use your full Topcoder profile to automatically generate you a Topcoder CV for applying with. So hopefully that will come out sometime sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, do make sure your CV really sells how many amazing skills you have. And yeah, the payment is the same as competition. You'll get it through your Topcoder profile on the platform. So it's really easy to use if you're already set up. Nothing changes there. You'll just get a weekly payment every time you complete a week's worth of work on the gig. Within there, you'll be able to review your experiences, be able to build up a profile, reviews from the client, and then be able to move yourself into better gigs, more gigs, higher paying gigs as you navigate the gig work, much in the same way as you might a competition experience. So yeah, hopefully that's given you guys a pretty good idea of the gig work. Again, you got any questions, do just type them in and I'll answer them for you on anything I've missed. But essentially, who's able to apply? Anyone. And that's kind of what's super exciting about this. Just search for job descriptions that match your interests, match your abilities, match the requirements, and get that application in. Super excited to hopefully have you all join us and see what amazing gigs around the world we can place you on. Yeah, so with that, guys, I'll say thank you very much, and I'll catch you all soon.
All right. Thank you so much, Matty, for that. If you want to learn more about gig work, head over to topcoder.com/gigs or /gig start or /gig. We have a ton of homepages, a lot of different information out there. You can always contact us either on Slack or email us as well. If you have any more questions for Matty, I'm sure he'll be available for you. If you have more questions in right now, just type it into Hopin. I believe he'll be there answering questions as well. All right, stay tuned. In about 10 minutes, we are going to have the Where Are They Now Topcoder Greats Edition. So stick around. We will be right
everyone, I am Harshit. I'm currently on an island here in Singapore, and I'm sending you all the best wishes from here for Topcoder Open Finals. We hope you have an exciting competition, and all the very best to you.
Hi everyone, it's Tony Jeffs here. Handle on Topcoder is Tony J. I'm standing here in the snow in Rhode Island. It is a bit cold for us right now. I wanted to wish everyone congratulations for making it this far, and good luck to everyone in the finals. Have fun.
Hey everybody, Clinton Bonner calling in from Connecticut. Hey, just want to say thank you so much and congrats to all our TCO20 finalists. We love our community. I think you already know that. We know it's virtual this year. Go have fun. Go do it different. That's okay. And then in 21, we come back even stronger. Can't wait to see so many of you. Congrats again. We love our community. Thanks.
Oh no.
This is not gonna work.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm working at Apple these days. I'm still doing software engineering after all these years. Um, I work on the Siri team. I can't go into too many specifics about what I do at Apple because they're very secretive. But yeah, I've basically over the years, my algorithm knowledge has served me well to sort of bounce from job to job, and eventually I ended up here at Apple, where I'm pretty happy. Yeah. Classic Tomek. Yeah. Well, I don't still do it, but actually, the Perfect Dark Elite still stands to this day, and uh, actually, the site, the record site that tracks the Perfect Dark records, still looks pretty much the same as when I set it up 20 years ago, which is kind of impressive, actually. Yeah. Well, it was a
Bright
GeoCity site,
rainbows.
so that's how old it is, right?
Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, I guess while we wait for Tomek to come, I think the man who needs no introduction, basically head evangelist Hashit, who is probably our biggest proponent of the community algorithm members and also our biggest fanboy of the community, especially the SRM competitors. So we'll try to keep his enthusiasm in check as he hosts this podcast, as this talk. But if you want to chime in, Hashit.
Yeah, this is kind of a fanboy moment for me. I was like texting Jesse that I'm finally, seeing Snapdragon and Tomek on light stream, and this is a moment for me. So when I started programming, my brother used to show me a Topcoder, and used to go through the leaderboard, used to go to the spotlight sessions, used to go through the arena chats, the leaderboards, and it was these guys always on the top. It was for a decade. So you guys ruled the rankings. You guys were there on the top. So it's a big moment for me and all those programmers who started programming during that age. It's certainly a seeing you guys and especially Snapdragon, your codes. We still look back and go back and see those so well written codes. All of your DP solutions are still some of the Bible codes for a lot of new budding programmers. So thanks
Nice.
for doing that. The culture you guys had set during those years is something that still is being carried forward. So thanks for that. I mean, before we move into what the title of the show says, where are you guys now? I think many of the new age programmers like me, or many of the new competitive programmers would like to know, how did you get into programming, the Olympiads, the gaming, and then Topcoder, and then TCO. So how did that happen? How did you start? So
Sure. Well, a lot to cover there. In terms of programming, I'm old, so I entered university in 1996, and I was too old even to compete in the IOI because Canada's team, actually 1996 was the first year that Canada even entered the IOI. So competitive programming was not on my radar at all in high school. I did do the International Math Olympiad, but in terms of algorithmic programming, I was completely unfamiliar with it when I entered university. And then in university, there's the ACM ICPC, which was the Intercollegiate Programming Challenge, which was my introduction to algorithm programming. So I tried out for Waterloo's team, University of Waterloo. Waterloo's been a perennial competitor in the ICPC. They've done quite well, and especially in those days, they were kind of a giant of ICPC. And so I tried out for the team. And made it, and I didn't know anything, but we had some really good professors who sort of walked us through it and taught us some of the basics, super basics compared to what we learn nowadays. We didn't have the resources that exist nowadays. Dynamic programming was considered an ultra advanced technique at the time, if that tells you something. So it was early days for everybody, like for the contests and for us, and there weren't internet sites dedicated to programming. So we basically picked it up. We went to the ICPC finals twice, and actually that was just the start of my programming career. So ICPC sort of started off my programming career. And then, of course, I came to Topcoder and spent quite a few years doing Topcoder.
right. So I mean, and I think, and how did gaming happen, like in between all this?
Well, gaming I've been doing all my life. That did not just happen at university or anything like that. But actually, probably we already covered it. But probably my introduction to sort of record setting and like speed runs was the Perfect Dark Elite. Which was just something that I started during university. Again, speedrunning was sort of in its infancy at the time, but we created a speedrun site that has endured to this day. And that was my introduction to speedrunning, but I actually did quite a few games at the time. I've definitely slowed down, like in everything, like in programming contests. I've slowed down a lot in my old age, just because speedrunning especially takes a lot of time. And so I can't do that and all my other hobbies at the same time.
That's interesting. So, okay, yeah, I think we have Pilo and Tomek here, so Nick will be making sure they are on the broadcast once he's set and back. Uh, but I mean, that's. I mean, I want to know this from Tomek and Pilo too. But I'll move on with some questions with you for now, and then once they're on the broadcast answering, we will go back to this question again and ask them because we
Sure.
want to know how this all started for you guys. So okay, I mean, before Tomek joins in on the broadcast, I think he's I mean, how was the rivalry between you and Tomek? Do you know your versus statistics like who won most when you competed? Who was better among you guys when you competed against each other in SRM?
Yeah, well, I think Tomek was better. I was sort of nearing the end of my dominance, sort of in Topcoder, and I say dominance, but really it was more like some of the really smart people like Tomek started to discover Topcoder, and the field became a lot more crowded, and it was very hard to maintain a position at the top. So yeah, I think when Tomek got serious about competitive programming, he quickly got number one, and he held it for quite a long time. I think up until Petter came in, and Petter's one of your competitors this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the. I mean, but let me give you a fact check actually. So
Okay.
you and Tomek have competed 77 times. Together, and Tomek has won 37 times, and you have won 40 times. So,
Oh well, great.
congratulations! Yeah.
Of course, if we look at actual TCO finals, my record is not so good.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I mean he's won 2 TCOs, so
Yeah.
that's yeah. I mean we have had greats like these, right? We have AC Rush all these years who
Yep.
it has been always trying to do well at a TCO final, and then but he won a marathon. He won a marathon final in 2015, which was a great feat. So
Right. I actually didn't
Well,
realize
it
that
looks
AC
like
Rush had never won a final. Cool.
it looks like we got Poru Low on now. Plo, great. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
It's good to see you again. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulty, so thanks everyone for working through it, and Pilo, thanks for getting through it. Just to give you a little intro here, we've been asking the speakers to kind of give a little bit about themselves. I know you and your brother were kind of we got the Wu brothers who are both finalists this year on the SRM track. You guys were kind of the original algorithm brother duo at Topcoder back in the day. So we'll have to call you guys the original brother combo. So we'll have to see if there's any advice in competing against your brother in one of these tournaments. And now I know you're at Harvard, right? You have a labs focused on genetics and algorithms. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. So nowadays I lead a small research group developing statistical algorithms for analyzing very large-scale genetic data sets. And it's been kind of a nice niche where I can now apply some of the algorithm knowledge that I learned in Topcoder. In a way, oftentimes it feels kind of like the stuff that I was doing with Topcoder marathon matches after I sort of moved down a little bit from SRMs. Kind of a more research-style problem where you just can throw the kitchen sink at it. But now, of course, this time scale is a little bit longer than 2 weeks. But oftentimes the kind of intense kind of coding crunching part of it is not too different from a marathon.
Yeah, that's great. I have actually my own daughter has a genetic abnormality, so we bring her to the Broad Institute every once in a while as well. So from personally, I am very appreciative of the work and effort that you guys do there. So very commendable for that type of work. So now I know with you and your brother not competing as much, is there more a rivalry between publishing papers between the two universities?
Not so much. We're in pretty different fields, and we're kind of off doing our own thing now. The funny thing is, back in the day, we were never really that active on Topcoder at the same time. So it was more like my brother Po. He was one of the really, really early on people. Back when Snapdragon was indeed dominant, and he was the kind of the person that everybody knew. and everybody, maybe the one to beat, but nobody could beat him. But yeah, so my brother was active in the first couple of years, and then he started becoming less active around the time that I started picking it up. And so we never really competed that actively against each other.
Cool. Well, yeah. Well, thanks again for joining us today. I know everyone's pretty excited about hearing from some of the all-time greats. I know no one's more excited than Hashit. So.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, same question for you, Pilo. Like, how did you start on Topcoder? How did you start with programming, and then Putman, and all the Olympiads, and how did it all happen? So. Yeah.
Yeah, so well, Topcoder and programming in general actually is kind of funny. My brother was the one who was interested in this early on, from when he was a kid. Really, like he learned how to program in BASIC and learned how to program in C, and program games for himself and us, and competed in the high school programming contests. And then Topcoder. Back in the day, though, he tried to get me interested for many, many years, and I just didn't really care. It wasn't really until high school, and then I think I discovered the USA Computing Olympiads kind of training site, that I kind of gave it a try and realized, oh, this is kind of fun. I remember I got kind of hooked on it over one winter break, and just spent all winter break working through that training. Wow. And then it kind of took off from there, I guess. But that was my kind of I was sort of a
That's interesting, actually. So, I mean, you guys, so many, almost seven top quarter finals for Tomek, seven for Snapdragon, six for you. Uh, you know, so many good top quarter moments. Is there like, when you look back, to when you think about top quarter, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Like, is it a TCO, or is it a match that you did on a weird location, or in a weird situation, or is it a match that you lost with some very minimal points, or a challenge that happened in the last 10 seconds? Like, what is that comes to your mind, that when you think about top quarter, like, or yeah, I mean,
Well,
Snapdragon.
for me, definitely the TCO finals, especially all the seconds that I got for a long time. That was sort of my curse. Of course, getting second is not so bad, actually, and I would be happy to do that again someday. But there was actually one particularly, I guess, the dramatic one where I lost to John Deathridge, and it was the match was actually rerun. So I won the first time, and then the match was rerun, and I lost the second time, and that was pretty frustrating at the time. There was some drama there.
I was going to say, you're being very kind to us there. Yeah,
Well,
that was I think that was a low point in our platform history. But we appreciate you did, as much as you were frustrated, you did keep a great attitude, and
yeah,
thank you for that.
In the long run, I mean, it doesn't matter as much as it seemed at the time.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess.
Super you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of moments, but like a couple times in the finals, I think, especially during the challenge phase, where it kind of came down to the wire in a couple of cases. I guess I remember oftentimes looking at the challenge board, just sort of watching. It was kind of useful to know kind of who was looking at whose other code, because then I could kind of game out like whether or not I needed to challenge someone if someone was looking at sort of a code that I was pretty sure was correct or pretty sure was wrong. I remember maybe one of the moments that stands out was in I think it was a final of a TCO. I was solving basically a problem that was kind of the analog of the birthday paradox, I think, and it turned out that you could just write a simple mathematical formula, but I guess the author hadn't realized this. I remember Petter challenged me 4 times unsuccessfully, and he still just after the 4th time, I was pretty sure that the code probably worked.
That's interesting. I mean, so Tomek's with us. I think I know Tomek's 2008 finals. He was on the top of the leaderboard, and Peter was probably third or fourth, and then Peter started challenging, and he started moving up. and Tomek just didn't open any anybody's code to challenge. He just kept sitting, and then in the last 15 seconds when Peter was about to get close to winning the finals, Tomek went ahead and did one successful challenge, and eventually won. He was just sitting, he was probably not opening a problem, not doing anything on that time, and then did that. That those 15 seconds, I think this I would like to share a moment we had last year. So in a semi-final in a semi-final match, Pewter was fifth. Pewter was fourth. He had already he was almost qualified. We were members knew that there won't be any challenges, but he went ahead and tried a challenge and got negative points and fell down to fifth. And then he came back to us and showed us his heartbeat on his sensor and said that this why did I do that, like why did I do that, like this is I was pretty well positioned, and then but luckily the one who eventually went up to the fourth position failed one problem, and eventually Peter qualified to the finals. But that was these kind of moments, they are the essence of how this competitive programming or how the on-site TCOs are. So that's great to know that, right? Great to know all these things from you.
Yeah,
Right?
there's a lot of game theory to these contests. A lot of things like which problems do you open, and when do you challenge? Who do you look at? Do you risk things? Do you risk challenges?
Yeah, I was reading a few spotlight sessions and AMAs from those days, and I remember Tomek used to sometimes do all these mind games, open a hard problem and submit something, and then everybody used to get confused and go to the hard problem that, oh, is it
Yeah.
doable? So yeah, those things pretty interesting. Anyways, I mean, this brings me to another question to you guys. So many TCOs among you guys. Which has been your best? Which has been your favorite TCO? I mean, if you had to pick one, like, I mean, I know Snapdragon. You would say you would say the one I ended up second in a.
No, well, like the venues actually in the early days, it was set in Vegas almost every year, and I really liked Vegas. I really liked the venue that they put us up at. Those were good days. I do remember actually seeing one of the founders of Topcoder. We were sitting at a table, and I watched him lose hundreds of dollars. So that memory stuck with me, and I enjoyed it, and I don't think he did.
I remember enjoying one of those moments in Vegas where a bunch of the algorithm finalists, I think, had just sort of gathered around a slot machine, and someone proceeded to put in $1 and pull the slot machine 100 times and lose like 95 times, and then finally win 10 cents and get 10 extra pulls.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Mess, you had an interesting story about some of the one of the Vegas hotels not allowing us because they thought, right?
Yeah, it was always after I think a couple of years they got a little bit nervous. I think because of the MIT blackjack theories and other things. They thought we were a bunch of card counters, or we're going to break their algorithms, or they were a little bit nervous about having us in their hotel.
Huh.
But we definitely, I know we launched, there were some people, I remember Matthijs, if he was around when you guys were, he kind of became a pretty big poker player. I never really played until a TCO. I think he played almost semi-professionally for a while he was in med school. So it definitely had some good Vegas and Topcoder memories.
What about you, Pilo? Which is your favorite TCO if you look back to all the TCO?
Oh gosh, it's hard to. They kind of blur together a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, especially since they were mostly in Vegas, it's hard to pick out one in particular. I do still. I like one of them for the backpack that I got. I still have my TCO. I think like 2008 or so backpack.
Is that the orange? Is that the orange backpack?
Yeah, that's the orange one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jessie would be. Jessie is listening to this. If she would love listening because she loves that backpack too. Yeah.
That seems to be the wide-ranging feedback from everyone that's ever attended a TCO, was that the orange backpack was the best swag gift ever. Do you guys have any advice as a competitor for these finalists that you would recommend?
Well, they're already finalists. I mean, I'm not sure that they need advice. They're all really good.
No special lucky meal or anything before competing?
Try to get some sleep. Actually, that's the big thing.
Yeah. Hopefully, at least that might be a benefit of the quarantined TCO, is that you're sleeping in your own bed. So maybe that's helpful.
Yeah.
What about? I know you guys are both Putnam mathematics competitors as well, right?
Yep.
You remember that correctly? How you want to talk anything about that experience? You think was interesting as far as Topcoder or work's concerned?
I mean, I was a math competitor through high school and through university. So, like I said, I did the International Math Olympiad, and I also did the Putnam competition. It certainly helps with Topcoder. Like sometimes there are problems that are very math heavy in Topcoder, and they are sort of similar to math problems. Although I know that it's a little discouraged to do problems that are just math. Like problems should probably have some sort of implementation, some sort of algorithm side to it.
Yeah, for me, those were the only problems where I ever had a fighting chance against the likes of Snapdragon.
Right.
That's interesting. Yeah. So I mean, do you guys still go back and check the problems these days, and what problems you are having these days in the SRMs or in the other platforms, or do you guys still go back and check the ACM? I mean, are you guys still in touch with competitive programming, or
Well, I'm
saw
still a judge for the ACM ICPC finals.
Oh.
So yes, I'm obviously very much in touch.
Yeah, I saw your last comment on last year's code jam, this year's code jam too. You were commenting on the problems and trying to explain on the Code Forces forum. So yeah, I saw you. Yeah, and Pilo, I saw you competed in TCO19 algorithm round. So
Yeah, so I still like to do it when I have a chance. This year, my wife and I had a baby, and so that kind of took me out of action. But maybe I'll be back in the future. It's really tough to be competitive without practicing. But
it's hard to keep your skills sharp. Yeah, that's definitely what I found too.
I was speaking to Saiho once, and he was telling me, if as like, why don't you compete in an algorithm round? It was probably one of the regional events you're doing, and he said, no, if I go in now, my rating would crash in something.
Yeah.
Those days were different, and today the problems are certainly very different. It's very difficult. So yeah. But I think, do you think? I mean, how much of a regular practice do you need to compete on a stage like TCO finals or Google Code Jam finals?
I mean, I made it to the Google Code Jam finals this year. It was more luck than anything else, but without practice, somehow I managed to luck out once. But to be actually consistent at it, I think you'd have to regularly do contests, regularly do practice problems, that kind of thing. And I don't at the moment. So
yeah, I mean, I think like basically doing something akin to doing the SRMs whenever they come around. That's probably about the minimum level of practice you would need to kind of be consistent.
Yep.
So it's been 20 years of TCO now, 14 years since the famous orange backpack that everyone seems to like. What do you guys, as far as competitive programming or Topcoder, the arena's been fairly the same. Anything you think like you're surprised like 20 years later, or in that case of the backpack 14 years later, other than new backpack technology, is there anything you wished you'd seen or you think competitive programs should be doing? Or love to hear any kind of thoughts around that.
Well, I haven't actually used the Topcoder applet in a few years, so I'm not sure what's changed with it. I still remember when it was I think a Java web start thing.
Not much.
Yeah.
It still is.
It's always been a pretty good applet.
For
I
better
guess
or
a
for
lot of
worse, it's still
yeah. I mean, a lot of other sites, I guess they sort of don't provide the entire environment. They just provide a window, and you submit your code. Whereas Topcoder's always been more of an all-in-one kind of thing, which is nice in its own way.
Yeah, I mean, on my end, I feel like it just kind of worked, and I think there were improvements that were made along the way. Like I remember,
Yeah.
just things like getting the system testing to actually start during the contest, as opposed to making everyone wait an hour afterwards. That was a big improvement.
And I think a lot of those improvements were actually done by Topcoder members, right? Which was none of the other platforms have done that, as far as I know.
Yeah, even today, it's still primarily run by Topcoder members.
Yeah, cool.
Do you guys still have any old Topcoder or TCO T-shirts?
I did, but it was a bit threadbare, so I didn't want to wear it for this interview.
Yeah, I still have lots. I just haven't needed to buy a T-shirt in years.
Yeah.
That's great to know that. Yeah, I think Pilo, you must have probably received or would be receiving the last year's T-shirt, right?
Yeah, I
19.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys ever feel like competing in marathon matches? I mean, a lot of algorithm members, once they kind of retired like from regular competing, they started doing marathon matches. Like we saw Saiho, we have Saiho, Marek, and Paul Jeffries, and from those days they still were competing in marathons, and they're still, some of them are still competing in marathons now. Did you guys ever plan on that? I know it takes a lot of time. It takes a week. But are you guys still planning? I mean, did you guys ever plan to do that, or?
Well, I agree. Like as I get older and I get slower, that does seem like a more attractive option. Just because I can spend the time to think. It doesn't matter as much how quickly I type.
Well, so we would see Snapdragon competing in the next marathon match. I'll email you.
I actually did compete in the earliest beta marathon matches before I think they were even numbered. But it's too much of a time commitment. Like that's the problem. Like if SRMs, if keeping up my skills with SRMs is too much of a time commitment, then marathon matches, multiply that by 20.
Yeah, so I actually did. I kind of got really into marathon matches for a couple of years, and that was actually much more successful there than in the algorithms. Although partly maybe because the field was pretty small. But yeah, it was great when I was in grad school. Well, not so great for grad school, but great for learning. All sorts of more just kind of algorithms that you needed more than an hour to implement, and solving problems that were more open ended. It was a lot of fun, but these days there's no way I could devote 2 weeks of the thing is, to win one of those, you kind of need to work on it almost full time. And,
yeah.
When you've got a flexible schedule and not any urgent deadlines, and that's doable, but it's pretty tough now.
Yeah, that has been the case with AC Rush also. Once he competed in the 2015 finals, he hasn't competed in a marathon after that, because one of the reasons he states that I don't have really, it takes a week long commitment, so not able to do that. But I think we would love to see you guys turn up for marathons. I'll make sure you get the links whenever they're launched. So so it would be pretty interesting to see you guys turning in and competing in a marathon match whenever you get time.
Is marathon the retirement track of Topcoder now?
No, so Tourist is competing. So Tourist won back to back 2 marathon championships. So he's not. He's not. He doesn't look retired. He's probably just starting.
No. Tourist is not retired.
There's a long way to go for him. Yeah. What about
the marathon match? I guess seems to be.
Sorry, Miss.
No, go ahead.
What do you think about Pewter? I think I mean I've been trying to talk to I should probably talk to Pewter and get him into marathons to like pursue him to try once, right? I mean Pewter is he's evergreen. He's competing since 2006. 2006 was his first TCO. He was first TCO champion, and then he he kept on. So yeah, that's a great. He's been on it, being committed to it, and keeps competing in all the competitions and keeps practicing.
Yeah, he's probably more than anybody else. He's the one who's managed to keep his skills the longest, keep his practice up. It's very impressive. But I mean, Tourist might get there too. Tourist is definitely doing quite well. It's been what, like 15 years? Has it been 15 years? 10 years?
Yeah, I think he signed up on Topcoder in 2006, and then
Yeah.
competed in some high school tournaments, and then when he was eligible to compete in TCOs, he came to TCOs.
So he's been at the absolute top for like 15 years, which is impressive.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the marathon match seems to be our senior tour event sometimes. We still get some young people involved, but I mean, it is interesting to see that it is sort of a young man's game in some ways. Once you get by some numbers,
it is. I mean, I think a lot of these intellectual contests are sort of young man's games in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, when we first started Topcoder, it was probably the most humbling experience I've ever seen. It's because I thought at one point I was actually a pretty good coder. Quite quickly proved that was not the case. Hence why the Topcoder members wrote the arenas themselves after a while, because we could easily find much more people. But I always liken it to like playing poker. I could win my neighborhood poker game, but as soon as I go online, I very quickly hand my money over to the better players. So it's always interesting to see like kind of the globalization effect as well.
We have a question in the chat for you guys. Jesse is asking, tell us more about what you're doing now. Get in more detail, or talk about that, or probably what you did at Google Snapdragon if you can't talk about what you are doing at Apple.
Okay. So I'm on the Siri team at Apple, and I actually do use some of my algorithm knowledge. So over my career, I've sort of bounced through a lot of startups. So I started at Google for a while, and then I went to a few startups. And the thing about algorithm contests is often you use the skills that you get to win interviews, like to get the job, and then you get into the job, and often you don't have to actually code any algorithms. But at Apple, actually, I've been using a lot of my skills, and of course, machine learning is huge nowadays. So there's lots of machine learning stuff to learn. That field has sort of changed a lot over the course of my career. But so I can't get into specifics, but I can certainly say like I'm doing some fairly interesting stuff, fairly difficult stuff.
Well, it's great to know that your algorithm skills are coming in use. That's yes. What about you, Pilo?
Yeah, it's I guess for me, I'm now leading a research group that develops algorithms to power statistical genetics analysis. So basically, trying to take a very large data set of people who have participated in a biobank, maybe hundreds of thousands or billions of people, and figure out which of their genetic variants have links to various diseases or other human traits. And so kind of algorithms-wise, it's a fertile ground for doing all sorts of interesting things, because the data is pretty big, a million or so people times maybe 100 million or so genetic variants. And that's enough that, n squared, anything that's quadratic is just kind of not going to work. And the nice thing is that leaves lots of opportunities for people who have algorithms training to have an impact, because a lot of these problems have been studied for decades, but usually studied at sample sizes of maybe 1,000 or even hundreds back in the day. And then you don't really have to worry about your performance. You can do n squared, n cubed, whatever. Nobody really cares. But now people really need the algorithms here, and so it's been fun to be kind of thinking carefully about what we can do.
Yeah, that's really cool, actually.
So Derek, will my daughter be cheating on her computer science homework by asking Siri to solve some of her comp sci homework problems?
Oh boy, there seem
Will
to be
that be
so
you?
many
We'll
ways
just get
to cheat.
Snapdragon.
I don't think you need Siri, unfortunately. There's a lot of that, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
I think you go on Topcoder forums, or you go on programming contest forums, and you'll often see people trying to cheat on their homework as well.
Yes. Yeah, that tends to be one of our biggest spam problems is solve my homework questions.
Yeah.
And so, Derek, you're still in Silicon Valley then?
Yeah, still living in
For
California.
Apple?
Yep. Working from home, of course.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. And I assume, Pilo, you're at Harvard, so you must be in Cambridge then.
Yep.
And most people are surprised by this fact, but I'm actually originally from the Boston area, even though my accent seems to, no one really seems to realize I have a Boston accent. But
I think I can hear it.
yeah, no, that's a bad joke.
You did say Harvard.
Usually I get told I have the strongest Boston accent, even though I have not lived up in that area in 20 plus years. So still near and dear to my heart to be up in the Boston area.
Yeah, I can hear it a little.
We guys recently did, so last year at TCO finals, Scott and a few members, they came up with a bracket tournament lockout. If you guys are following that, there's like 1 versus 1 in a bracket, and then you kind of progress into the next bracket. And
Oh yeah. I've actually seen. I've been on Ericto's Twitch channel a few times, and I think I've seen that being done. It looks pretty interesting. Very strategic.
yeah, we did that at a few regional events
Ah,
this year, and it was fun. I think we were joined by Red Eye and MSG 555, and we got some old members from the last decade, and they competed in the bracket tournament. I mean, what do you think about we bringing you guys back for a 1-to-1 duel against each other? Tomek versus Snapdragon, like on a Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Join us. 10 problems and.
I mean, it might be fun if you're okay with like having any illusions that we are still good crushed.
I just say I think Tomek may have lost some credibility with not being able to get onto a live stream. we may
Different
have to put
skill
his yeah. I do wonder. I know Tomek's at SpaceX now, and they had another successful launch, and it was Sunday night opposite the marathon match finals. So I'm sure Tomek was probably glued to the marathon match finals versus the Dragon launch. But
Sure.
we'll just assume that was the case since he wasn't able to join us today.
Yeah, I believe he's actually been working on the crew interface. I don't really want to speak for Tomek, but I think that's what he does.
Are you guys? This brings me to this. Like, are you guys still friends with a lot of Topcoder members you met during the TCO finals? Are you guys still in touch with them, or what friendships did you make out of Topcoders and Topcoder Opens?
Sure. I mean, it's easier for me because I do the ACM. It's not called the ACM anymore. I do the ICPC every year, and a lot of those people will be perennial visitors at the ICPC. So, like I see Pitter every year at the ICPC, and that makes it a little bit easier being able to meet up with them in person because we are very geographically distributed.
Right. What about you, Peter? Do you see a lot of Topcoder members in MIT or Harvard?
I guess not all that much. I guess I've I'll certainly the times that I compete, if someone's around in a chat, then I might chat. But I haven't really become that much in touch with people. Back in the day, I was a little bit more in touch with Josh Metzler, JD Metz, just because we just happened to be at a lot of events together. Took the wrong bus and wrong train together one time. That was the first time we met, and then kind of hit it off.
Yeah, we recently saw him, posting something in the forums. Like
he is also
sorry, Max, go ahead.
I know he is also he's an Orange Backpack fan as well, because I know he wrote in to ask if we had any more because he had recently lost his original 2006 backpack. Right. So it all comes back to the backpack.
That was one of the more recent times that I heard from him, was when he wrote me and asked whether I could take a picture of it for him, because he wanted to give it something, because somebody had broken into his car to get it.
Oh, geez. It's a sad way to know that he lost it. I didn't realize that was the exact case he lost it under.
Living in the Bay Area, actually, I have had a few encounters where I just randomly stumble across Topcoder people. I'll be wearing a coding shirt, sometimes a Topcoder shirt, and they'll say, "Oh, hi, I do Topcoder as well."
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What about? Recently, especially with everything with Corona, I've taken more personally, like online courses, or even watched more live streaming sessions. And Derek, I think I mentioned, you were streaming the Google Code Jam stuff. Do you get a lot of people watching that or giving you feedback or comments? I find it pretty interesting myself. Like, it was something I got, I never thought I would do like online courses really, or that I would want to watch online streaming coding competitions, but it's been pretty fun to watch some of that stuff.
Yeah, some people seem to have liked it, which is a bit surprising to me, because it's not like it's a prepared lecture or anything like that. I'm not even sure how educational it is, because it's watching me stumble through problems that I haven't seen before, right? For 4 hours. But surprisingly, yeah, some people in on YouTube have quite liked the streams, or at least have said that they do. I don't understand it myself, but I still make the streams, so I still make the screencasts.
Yeah, maybe it's like when people watch golf. I tend to like to watch the golfers hit it into the woods sometimes, because then I realize that they can make mistakes just like me, and that helps kind of build my own confidence.
Yeah, I bet that's part of it. Just seeing somebody who's struggling with the problem, seeing what they do to try to get over that hump. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to imagine too that, like, education-wise, at Harvard, you guys must be all doing online courses now too. It's got to be quite different. Are you helping any classes too, or are you really just in research?
Yeah, so for me, I'm fully in research. I did a lecture once in a while, but yeah, it's all online.
Yeah, quite different these days.
I think Ericto's Twitch streams are actually quite good, better than the screencasts I'm talking about, because he'll actually prepare his he'll prepare particular topics and particular problems, and he's done quite a good job with those, I think.
His number of viewers, I can't remember what it is, but his viewers are through the roof.
Yeah, he's one of our hosts for the algorithm broadcast this year, and was also last year too. Yeah. So he helps us host algorithm broadcast. Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah, he's like 190K subscribers or even more. I don't remember the exact number. Yeah. That's very helpful, right, for the budding programmers to go and learn from. He's a target rated member, so. Yeah.
Great. Well, I know we're coming up to the end of our time. I think I'm sure Hashit has 1,000 other fanboy questions that he would love to ask each of you. But Hashit, any kind of final questions or final thoughts?
I think just the fact that we might invite you to compete in a 1-2 versus 1 duel. So please accept that, and please join in. That will be fun to watch you guys code back again. And thanks for all the codes you have written all these years, and they're still being seen by a lot of members. They still go and learn from that. So thanks to you both, and even John Deatherage. He wanted to join today, but it's very late for him. So he could.
That's too bad. We could have reignited our rivalry.
We definitely appreciate the time and you guys taking time out of your busy calendar to join us today. And I know for those watching could not see, Tomek was popping in and out of the back end here for a long time. I know he said he had some internet connectivity issues, so appreciate him trying to join as well. So maybe if we could get the one-on-ones, we'll have to try to set that up maybe maybe we'll have the Low Brothers as the other matching bracket.
That would be fun. That would be interesting. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate, again, the time, and best of luck.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so
Nick,
much.
you sign us off.
All right, that does it for that session right there. Where are they now? Now you know. Thank you to Snapdragon, Pilo, and Tomek, even though we couldn't really get your AV working, but that's okay. I know you were there in spirit. It was really great to hear those stories. Always nice to hear old stories about Topcoder, the time before I arrived here. All right, so that does it for us on this. This is day 5, I believe. Day 6. Tomorrow, bright and early at 9 a.m. Topcoder time. That is when we will have the first to finish and UI design finals. They're going to be running simultaneously. However, at 8 o'clock is when it starts. 9 o'clock is when the stream begins. So 9 o'clock will be first to finish. And then at 10 o'clock, we will be covering the second design final, I guess not round, but like the second design final day. So we will have our host for that and a little special thing for you all, for all of the people watching these streams. We're going to have a little TCO trivia, or like Topcoder trivia, and a little mix of general knowledge and Topcoder questions. So be sure to tune into that. That is going to be at 11:30 a.m. Again, that is Topcoder time. All right, so until then, I'm going to sign off, get some things squared away, and I'll be ready for you tomorrow. I'll see you then.